everybody, again. This is Chase from Hold Up, the show where we dive deep inside your childhood nostalgia, pull the movies from your past out to see if they hold up. And today, I have the honors of being holed up with Andrew and Andrew only.
Kyle got arrested and he was extradited to D.C. for federal prosecuting, so we wish him well. He ain't here with us, and he may never be with us again. We relish these moments, I guess.
Do we have any details on what he was arrested for?
Narcotics, but it was a narcotics ring that also dabbled with Pokemon cards too. He was a huge scalping operation of Pokemon cards on top of narcotics. So it was really the Pokemon cards that gave him away. If they had picked a different way to traffic his drugs, I think he would have gotten away with it, but he chose Pokemon as his vice, and it just didn't work out.
Last time I was with him, he was rummaging through people's mailboxes looking for birthday cards so he could steal the cash, and then he was trying to flip that around to go get printer ink to shoot up, and that's when I was worried about Kyle the most.
He went down a really dark road about 6-7 months ago. You mentioned the mailboxes and printer ink, but he was killing local wild game, in the forest, the nature preserve behind the apartment, and just eating it for fun. So, I wish him well. I hope he gets the help that he needs. And honestly, a federal sentence might be for the best.
It needs a good ass kicking, and that's what a federal sentence is. So everyone send your thoughts and prayers and your Patreon requests to the Hold Up Podcast, and we'll make sure it gets to Kyle for his bail money. But he's actually the lucky one today because he didn't have to watch The Master of Disguise.
I'm sad for him. He was robbed of a core memory, I'd imagine. So
he was robbed of a stroke is what I think he was robbed of.
He was robbed of cancer, like stage 5 cancer. He should count his blessings. I don't want to get into weeds yet, but we're going down a real slippery slope here today, and
we really are. We're kind of angry. We're a little frustrated. I don't want to juice the horse before we get to the end of the race, but wow, what a time that was. But Andrew, I do want to ask you a question. This is the first time on the show that I've ever asked you this question, but could you describe your energy levels using disguises?
Fuck, disguise terms. I'm going to pull a Derek here.
Please don't.
And screw this up. Disguise terms. Okay, I've got it. So I feel a little seen. I've got a mask on. I've got a cape, but there are no clothes on the rest of my body. So I'm probably going to get arrested for indecent exposure as I sliver through the streets thinking that everything is covered and my ruse is not called out. So, my mood is getting arrested and put in jail for decent exposure while just wearing a mask and a cape in the streets of a busy city. So,
wow. Sounds like you got into the printer ink. Is what that sounds like.
You could say I dabbled.
Well, Andrew, you did really well for your first time. Doing that little bit. Yeah, it was way better than Derek. If he's listening, Derek's could use a lot of work, to say the least. Speaking of needing a lot of work, Master of Disguise. Let's talk about it. What do you remember about this movie as a child?
I remember going to see it in theaters for my 10th birthday or something.
Yeah.
I think that's when it was, because it came out in what?
Oh, 2?
Yeah, that sounds about right. 2002. I don't remember, August of 2002.
Yeah, and this is the first summer blockbuster we're getting to. I know it's a low-end summer blockbuster, but it was a big movie in the summer.
August 2nd, 2002. My birthday, August 23rd. So, yeah, I saw it for my 10th birthday. Pretty cool. Pretty special moment. I remember seeing the trailer and being very intrigued by it. And I remember laughing at all the fart jokes and stupid childish humor that is littered throughout this movie. I remember being entertained, but at the age of 10, I didn't really dissect and view movies like I do now. So a lot of things I missed, and probably for the better at that age. I don't I don't. You don't want your innocent child mind destroyed by pessimism and other things. Not that that movie has destroyed me, but I am changed after watching it last night, to say the least.
I was gonna ask. This movie stars Dana Carvey. Did you watch a lot of SNL, or were you familiar with his work on SNL?
Yeah, everyone knows Church Lady.
Yeah.
You knew of
And
his
his
George
George W.
Bush.
Bush, yeah.
It was his George H. Bush that made him popular because I don't think he was an SNL through like into the Bush era.
He came back for several guest stars, and he did that impression.
Until Will Ferrell took over
Yeah,
for him.
for sure.
But his was George H.W. He was Daddy Bush. And I remember that. I mean, I don't remember it in the moment. I was too young, obviously, but you saw replays, you saw sketches, like, you knew who Dana Carvey was. I've never loved Dana Carvey, if I'm being honest. Like, I've never thought he was just downright hilarious. I don't dislike him, but it's not one that really He's not one that really moved the needle for me. I don't know
He's
if
an
you feel the same,
impression
but
artist. I mean, that was what
yeah,
he did. He just played characters and had impressions, and he
yeah,
was very good at that. What I remember about this movie, because my family liked SNL, so I remember just kind of being in the room or being present. I got caught a lot of his like skits from SNL, but he was one of those like cast members in SNL that was big in that early 2000s, it felt like, or during that run in SNL, and he had this
yeah.
movie, and then after that he just kind of was done, you know.
Well, I think this movie, if I remember reading correctly, he did this one in 2002 and then didn't do another movie for like 9 or 10 years.
Yeah, and he did this movie for his kids too. His kids were older, so he wanted to make some like a teenage kind of childlike movie. It's a family comedy is what it's dubbed as, but it's
Yeah.
definitely it is a lot of lowbrow stuff. This movie for me was a big DVD watch. We didn't go see it in theaters, but I remember the trailers on other DVDs like that I'd have at the time, and so we rented this from I think Movie Gallery. That's where I went a lot for my rentals.
You
And
have Blockbuster?
we had a Movie Gallery and a Blockbuster. The Movie Gallery was like a mile down the road, so it was super close to our
Yeah,
house.
yeah, okay.
The Blockbuster was a little further. We went to Blockbuster sometimes, but our main stop was Movie Gallery. But we just gotten a DVD player in our house. Like so it was kind of like a fresh concept. It's like, oh, we're
Yeah,
watching movies in the modern age now
yeah.
with these crisp, clear graphics. So and it turns out it wasn't even much better than VHS. But I remember renting this movie and watching it one weekend, and I remember as a kid specifically hating it. I didn't like it at all when I was a kid. I kind of think I was bored by it. That was what I remember most.
So I remember going into like I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to go for my birthday, and that what was this movie rated? Do you know?
I think it was it PG-13 or PG?
I don't know, but it was at that time where I started to venture into more lowbrow or mature things, and I think at the time I thought this movie like fit that bill. So I was like, yeah, I'm 10 years old. I want to see something that's cutting edge and like really, really funny and somewhat above my curve as a kid. So I went into that movie like wanting to like it, and I left like somewhat entertained. But I remember my parents were like, "Well, that was something."
You know what's funny? As meeting your parents recently as I did, I could see them being like, "Well, our son's not going to college." I hope they're listening. They're probably not, right?
No, they don't give a fuck about me. They don't give a fuck about us. Actually, I don't know. I think my mom's listened a few times, but
Al's not listening.
no, hell no. My dad doesn't even know what a podcast is.
We're going to work on Al there. Like I'm sure I feel like I'm going to see him several times in the next year, so I'll work on getting him. We should get him on as a guest star. That would be a time. Just take a round with each of our parents. My dad's been chomping at the bit for that one. But anyway, I that's the length of my knowledge of this movie, and from what I understand, there's not a whole lot of backstory to it other than Dana Carvey was popular on SNL. A lot of SNL cast members were getting their own movies. Adam Sandler got several out of SNL. Of course, that was earlier 90s when that started. So everyone was kind of looking for the next Adam Sandler slash Chris Farley, the next big comedian that's going to star off and make all these movies.
This was a Happy Madison production.
It was a Happy Madison production, but that's my understanding is they thought Dana Carvey was going to be the next guy that they could just pump out a bunch of family comedies with. And obviously he took the money for it. He seems like a good dude. I don't know much about him.
Him and David Spade are great friends, and I'm pretty sure they have a podcast together. After this movie, he took time away from acting, be with his kids and his family. He said later he much prefers just doing stand up and just being a comedian as opposed to being on set and acting. He much preferred being a comedian.
And you could kind of tell that.
Yeah.
There's actually, have you heard the rumor about this movie? Or it's not even a rumor as much as people think it's a confirmed fact.
No, please share. I have no idea.
So this movie came out in 2002, right? It was filming in 2001. And we all know there is a tragic event that happened in 2001. And
yes,
the word on the street is that the first scene in this movie that they filmed is the infamous Turtle Club scene, which we will get to. For whatever reason, that was the first scene that they were filming, and they were filming it on September 11th. And during the filming process, a lot of the cast and crew had seen on the news where, the Twin Towers were struck by the planes.
Yep.
So they all kind of stopped filming, and Dana Carvey is saying a prayer in full turtle costume during this process.
I mean, maybe him being in the turtle costume is truly a rumor, but I'm pretty sure it's very real. I know that I was reading I don't know, I think it was on Reddit last night about how the whole cast stopped and gathered in prayer and a moment of silence when it happened. So if they were truly filming the turtle scene, I would imagine that turtle costume was a bitch to get in and out of. There's probably a very good chance that Dana was in that while praying, while having a moment of reflection.
So it's slightly true. When I dug into it, I dug into the facts, a couple reliable sources. So this movie did not start filming until September 24th. 9/11 had already happened. And the turtle scene was the first to be filmed, so that is true. And at the beginning of the filming process, Dana Carvey got with everybody and actually led a prayer in his turtle costume, according to the facts of this, because they were getting ready to film. So they did pray, and they did kind of have a moment of silence for the victims of 9/11, because a lot of them felt weird, because this is probably one of the first movies that went back to filming after such a tragedy. Because you remember as a kid, the country kind of paused for a second, and that doesn't happen very often. If ever. We have tragic events that happen, but 9/11 just kind of shook us to our foundation. And unless you lived it, I don't think a lot of people really understand what that day and age was like.
What a good movie to get back into the swing of things.
You're right.
That's the one that I would have picked to get the wheel turning again.
And there's probably other movies that started filming before this, but that's 13 days after 9/11, so it's still fresh on everybody's mind. And so they felt weird about doing something so silly right after such a tragic event, so they held a moment of silence. But according to what actually happened is after that, the director went over to his chair and yelled action. So some truth nuggets there, but everyone can look it up. It's all over the internet as that it happened during 9/11, and from everything I understand, it didn't. Filming didn't start till the 24th, but they were in pre-production during 9/11. Andrew, I've got a question for you. 2002, family comedy. Did this movie make some money?
It had a budget of $16 million.
Pretty low.
Cool. Yeah, pretty low. It's a measly number. And grossed altogether right around $43.5 million. So, yeah,
it was a success.
It was a financial success if you're going off those two numbers alone. So
Yeah.
it got in the green.
Yeah. When you said 16 million, I was like, it probably made money because there's enough
Yeah.
families that we're going to go by. But that's very smart of them to keep the budget super low so that they could like hedge their bets. And you could tell in some of the filming processes that it was shoddy work on some of the cinematography and the way that they shot things.
Yeah. Not to get into it, but there's a lot of shoddiness to this movie. A lot of head scratching moments or roundabout ways to get from point A to point D. There, you're like, really? That's what you settled on? Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
it's
cool.
almost like they were rewriting the script as they were going
Yeah.
through.
Did,
Uh,
did you read anything about how this was maybe supposed to be a competitor to Austin Powers Goldmember specifically?
I'd heard that they used a lot of like they were thinking they were going to do like a family friendly version. Not really family friendly. They wanted to do a young adult version of Austin Powers. I'd heard that they were trying to compete in that area. And I mean, should we just go ahead and talk about it and see if they failed in that area or if they
I
succeeded?
know.
I think we already tipped our cap on this, but
No, we didn't. But I guess we should get into it. I'm going
no.
to rely on you to get through this. I guess we should get into the blow by blow of this adventure.
I'm going to start us off. I usually let you or Kyle start us off, but I've got my notes on this one. So, Master of Disguise, it starts off with this kind of narration of what was it? What was the family's name? The Disguisey family?
The Skyzy family.
So dumb. So automatically, I was pissed off
They're
from the get go.
also fucking Italian.
Yeah, they're very Italian, and not even in like a. Everyone sounds fake Italian in this, like somebody from Nebraska doing an Italian accent who's never met anybody from Italy. But this movie starts with a woman running away from a group of individuals, and she's being chased by some henchmen, and she's running at no kidding, maybe 2 miles per hour. No aggression in her arm swings. It does not look like a sprint at all. Everyone listening to this podcast right now can put their headphones in and just slightly walk at a brisk pace, and you are moving faster than this woman is. It is the most unathletic run I've ever seen in my entire life. And she's running from these damn henchmen while this guy is doing a narration about the Disguisey family and how they're the masters of disguise. And she gets cornered by one henchman and just kind of like slaps him, and he just like dies. And then she's able to escape into a car, and she takes her face off, and it's one of the Disguisey family. It's
Just so dumb because the mask or the face is like incredibly realistic to the point where you're like, there's no way that's a man. There's no way that is a woman, all the way down to the rest of her body. Like, it's a full on suit that completely transform this man that's wearing it. So, like, right off the bat, another, like, oh gosh, okay. Not believable whatsoever, which we're willing to suspend disbelief for all sorts of
Andrew, they're
entertainment.
the masters of disguise. Like, of course, they're going to make it as realistic as possible.
Of course, realistic, very realistic.
This is the taste of the film that we're going to get. This man has disguised himself as a woman. We meet our main villain, who has some pretty blue eyes, the most blue
He's
eyes
got
I've ever seen.
like strikingly blue.
Yeah, it looks like the damn ocean in his eyes. What was he doing? He was trying to steal something. I can't remember, but we learned that the Disguisey family disguise themselves and do
They do it to
espionage.
they do it to better the world and the human race.
Yeah, they're stopping people from committing crime. So,
Yeah.
like this dude had stolen a diamond or something. I can't remember. This opening scene's like 2 minutes long. Just and you got the narration, so you're paying attention to that. He basically just stole this diamond from this mastermind and brought it back to safe hands through his disguise.
And that dude, Bowman, is that his name?
Bowman, yeah.
Devlin Bowman. Excuse me. I think that's correct, right? Am I saying it? Yeah. Devlin Bowman. He gets put in jail for like 20 years.
Yeah, so he's obviously pissed. And then the dad, this is the dad, so it's a lineage of disguisees. It cuts to the future, and he's retired from being a master of disguise, and he opens a damn Italian restaurant and has a son.
In like New York City.
Right. And he has a son, which is the same age as him almost at this point, because Dana Carvey looks like he's like 52. But I'm assuming he's
like 45.
Yeah.
He was like 45 when this came out. So.
And they make him out to be like what, early 20s in this? Like how what age range do you think he is? Or what they're trying to portray him as?
I don't like he probably like in his like mid to late 20s.
So the narrator's like, yeah, well, the lineage has to continue, and this is the story. And they're at an Italian restaurant, and of course, you can't have an early 2000s movie without playing the song Walking on Sunshine when someone is happy about something. So we meet Dana Carvey's character. He's kind of a bumbling idiot. His name is Pistachio.
Pistachio Disguisey. He speaks like this. I'm a pistachio disguised. Like, just gibberish, cartoonish Italian dialect, like an insult to the Italian people.
The most insulting bullshit. It's all just Italian stereotypes. His mom is this Italian woman that it just won't stop cooking, which is an Italian stereotype.
Did you notice that the actor who played his mom? She's the lady behind the desk in Planes, Trains, and Automobile at the airport that Steve Martin just absolutely eviscerates.
Oh, no way. I did not notice that.
That is her. Just I don't remember the line that she has in that movie, but she's very Midwestern. And, well, excuse me, sir, but I don't. That was her. That was her. Her name is, I'm going to find her name because I want to, Edie McClung.
Yeah, that was a good catch. I did not even notice it, but I was also like, the film grain or the filters that they use for this film and the lighting that they use is super bright and blown out. Everything's got like a super goldish, orangish hue to it, and it just looks like shit. It looks like everything's a dream sequence. So
we didn't even talk about the intro scene, the shitty intro scene where it was some sort of like it's their nest room or whatever, but it's just a stupid book that turns pages and like 3 separate sections, top, middle, bottom. It was like a flip book to give the introductory credits and casting list. It was the lamest fucking thing in the world. It was so lame. It was so like juvenile and cartoonish. Like I feel like we could create AI videos better than that nowadays.
We could,
like, truly.
I mean, we could go out and take a phone camera and create intro videos that way by throwing a book on the ground and pissing all over it.
I was just saying that Slop AI honestly was better than that intro.
Oh, it was so... I forgot about it until you brought it up. That's how bad it was.
It was very underwhelming.
I had to rewatch half this movie this morning to just even like keep up and remember what happened. But we get introduced to Pistachio, and like I said, he's a bumbling idiot. He doesn't seem like he's going to carry on the lineage of the Disguisey family. He doesn't really know about the lineage because his dad's retired and has kind of hidden it from everybody. We get a scene where we're just kind of meeting all the characters in the neighborhood at this Italian restaurant. And Pistachio works at the Italian restaurant too. He's like a waiter. But he goes outside, and this girl that he goes on a date with, she's very much a very New York style woman, I guess you would say. Has that very annoying voice. It's like the girl from Friends, right? Like
she sounds like this.
Yeah, very annoying.
Pistachio.
He stares at her ass and says she reminds him of his mother. So
and she has a large ass, like it's like cartoonishly large.
Right. Like they like padded her costume 100%. And then they zoom in on it. This movie does fail the Bechdel test, Gretchen, so if you're wondering, if you're listening. But he stares at her ass, says it reminds him of his mom. He like talks to her. She's like blowing him off, because they went on one date, but he's still kind of obsessed with her. and then he runs into this boy who is like a really bad skateboarder because he's trying to learn. He keeps eating shit, and Pistachio's dog runs up to him, and then he introduces the dog. Is the dog's name is the Cuteness. You can play with the Cuteness at any point, and then just a random newspaper guy's like, "Hey, Pistachio, cheer the kid up by doing one of your mini impressions," and then he does a Shrek impression, and this was the first pop culture reference we got in this movie, but it is not the only one. This movie cannot create original content at all.
It's nothing creative, nothing original. Yeah, I'll let you continue, but you're not wrong there.
So he just quotes Shrek, and I guess that was supposed to be funny.
I mean, Shrek came out, like 3 years prior, 2 years prior, something like that?
I think it came out a year before. It was pretty new when this...
No, it was 2001. I thought Shrek was 99, but 2001, it was his good buddy, Mike Myers, of course, who voiced Shrek. So doing the parallels there as well. It wasn't a bad Shrek impression, but it was...
But it's like he just quoted Shrek in the beginning of this movie. I don't know. It reminded me that this movie is going to be creatively bankrupt. But what happens next, Andrew? So eventually we have all of our cast of characters. We know he's a bumbling idiot. People are kind of like dismissive of him, but he's a very sweet kid. He's very happy-go-lucky, always smiling. And he works at the restaurant. I think, one night he's like serving, and he gets bullied a lot by other people.
He gets bullied by Rex, who is just some one-off waiter. But
and that's also another 2000s thing. Oh, we have an asshole candidate. What are we going to do? Let's name him Rex. Let's name him something egregious.
And then we'll meet another asshole here in a bit, whose name is like Derek or like Steve or something. Or maybe it was like Trent or Shane. It's one of those singular syllable names. But anyways, he has a scene or a moment where he gets tripped and spills the food all over the guests. And of course, it's like neatly stacked on their heads. The spaghetti is. It somehow forms out to like look like it's their hair or their long beards on their head, just gently resting as right before.
I gotta ask you something too, because it looked like he was carrying different plates of food, but it ended up being nothing but spaghetti on these people.
There was like a bunch of crab, like steamed crab, some spaghetti. There might have been some fish and other things, but all we saw was a bowl of spaghetti on each of their like each of their 6 heads that perfectly draped over their body and their face as if it was their hair or facial hair or something of the like. Just dumb. Just fucking stupid. And he apologizes and he moves on to his next table, and I guess that's forgotten about. And his dad comes over to apologize. And then this is when things start to escalate. He takes the order of this like Texan. He's like, I just want spaghetti and meatballs. And I don't know what set him off, but he just started mimicking him, which is something that he does because it's just implied that he likes to mimic people when he gets upset. There wasn't a fucking reason for it, but he just starts mimicking this guy, and then he mimics the wife, and the wife gets pissed. And then the father comes over there and tries to defuse the situation. And the father tells Pistachio, it's all good, it's whatever. Then he turns and yells at the guest and tells him to leave, which he doesn't leave, by the way. He tells him, you're not welcome here, get out. And it just moves on to the next scene. It ends just like that. Very clunky, very forced. Just, where are we going? What are we doing?
Because they do that thing with the Shrek reference, too. It's like he's supposed to be good at impressions. They're trying to lead you down the route of like, oh, he's a master of disguise. So it's in his DNA. He can't help but mock random Texans that come into a New York Italian restaurant.
Whatever. Anyways, he takes a moment and he goes outside to like catch his breath, and in the alleyway it's his I guess the girl that he was dating or on a date with the other night is in the alleyway making out with Rex, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And what even was her name? Do you remember? Is it even important?
It's not
Does it matter?
important. It was like Brenda or something like
Yeah,
that.
whatever. Anyways,
Pamela, Terry.
he gets shoved to the ground by Rex, Pamela, Terry, Brenda. Is like, I only liked your impressions for like 5 minutes, and then I got bored. Bye, Rex. They walk away, and he's defeated and bumbles off. He finds himself up on the roof
Which
somehow,
is
and then he looks.
Which is
I just
weird because he thinks he's dating this girl or he's acting like he is. And she's like told him off like 2 or 3 times. He's the villain in this scenario. Like, sure, she's brutal to him, but she's like, we went on one date. And he keeps like following her around. So it's like if she wants to make out with Rex in the alleyway, like whatever, man, just move on. But he's just
whatever.
continuously persistent about it. But anyway, I'm giving too much time to that. Like, so
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anyway, he ends up on the roof and he's just looking out at the city, and then all of a sudden he hears like some commotion down in that alleyway, and this old ass like white car, like I'm talking like it looks like it's from like the 40s or 50s, pulls up and just abducts his mom and dad. And they get thrown in the back of this car and they drive off.
That's it. Yep, that's it. That's it.
Yep.
Everybody, that's how this movie. So how this movie peaks.
And then he
Are y'all
comes
still
back
with
in.
us? It's.
I hope not. I hope not. We should just speed this along because, like,
We're hitting the high points. So his family just gets abducted out of nowhere. He sees it happening, and then we get an Exorcist reference.
Oh, do we? Please, I must have missed that.
Yeah, it's he goes inside and he's like, the place has been ransacked. He uses the word ransacked too. His mom and dad's been abducted. He doesn't know what's going on. And then it cuts to a guy getting out of a car. He's shadowed out. It's got that midnight hue to it. It's completely dark. Street lamp is the only thing lighting it, and there's nothing but fog. Just like the priest in The Exorcist when he shows up to the house. They went shot for shot with that. It's
cool. Again,
but they like
original concept.
But here's what ruins it. I was like, you know what? Whatever. Do that if you want to. So the music that dubs over it is supposed to be the Exorcist theme, but they don't have the copyright for it. So it's a non-copyright version of the Exorcist theme, and it sounds like shit. And the audio mixing on this is so bad, and it's just kind of, it's off. It just feels like the keys are like whatever. And then we're seeing this man walk up. What are you playing to here? Because you're trying to do this for like young teenagers. They're not watching The Exorcist. You know, you can make the Shrek reference if you want, but to make a deep cut Exorcist reference is probably not for your audience. But anyway, he shows up at the restaurant or wherever they are. I can't even remember at this point.
They're at the restaurant.
Because isn't the restaurant also their home? Like it's kind of like that New York style where the restaurant's downstairs and their house is upstairs.
Their house is upstairs.
But their house is too big to have a restaurant underneath it. I'm not even going to get into that. But he shows up and it's Pistachio's grandfather, who is also, keep in mind, a master of disguise. What we're getting here is the interaction of, like, he tells Pistachio, like, hey, this man stole your parents. And it turns out it's the guy from the beginning that...
What timing? I mean, what incredible timing for your grandfather to show up out of the blue, to know that your parents were abducted, and to further the plot along. I mean, just impeccable writing. It's almost as if they used ChatGPT to write the script.
I think this was written by the Coen brothers.
Oh shit! Really?
No, not even close.
You know who it was written by?
I don't even. Who? I gotta know.
It was written by Dana Carvey and a guy named Harris Goldberg. They wrote it together. Yeah. So we're anytime we take displeasure with the writing and the plot devices, we're aiming our angst at Dana himself. So
to show you what type of writing this is, and to point A to point B to point C to point D. So his grandfather shows up, drops the knowledge that his parents have been kidnapped on him by the guy from the beginning of the movie that his dad had put in prison. He's out of prison now, and he's kidnapped his parents out of spite/revenge, and we'll find out more a little bit later. Not that there's much more. But Dana Carvey's character, Pistachio, sits down to eat with his grandfather. His parents have just been abducted. The restaurant's been destroyed. And he's like, let's eat. And so they start eating so he can explain to him the lineage of the Disguisey family. And Andrew, I got a question for you here. So,
Sure.
if his grandfather is a master of disguise, why would he not just do this himself instead of taking the time to train this bumbling idiot on his family lineage and try to train him to be the master of disguise?
Because then we wouldn't have a movie, Chase.
We could still have a movie. We could just follow the grandfather through this.
Not one that stars Dana Carvey. Not one that revolves around him and his growth and misadventure. Okay, it's gotta be about a man named Pistachio. It's gotta be about him. I just have to, and there's no way around it. And they've hinted from the very beginning that this Pistachio has something about him that needs to be discovered, that needs to be let out, and now is the time. Everything is kind of converging at once. This is meant to be. So that's why, Chase. The writing dictates.
I appreciate you for that, Andrew. I appreciate you keeping me like level-headed through all this.
Yeah. We just gotta think about this logically, logically and rationally. That's the only way.
Yeah, logically, this is, like we said, creatively bankrupt. Rationally, it should burn in hell. So his grandfather is now trying to train him, and he shows him how to disguise himself by just performing. He turns into a maid. And obviously, like you mentioned it earlier, and we're not going to keep bringing this up, but again, it's just the person playing the person. They ADR the grandfather's voice over whoever they're trying to be. It's too realistic, and he gets in disguise in a matter of 5 seconds. So I don't care how good of a disguise you are. You're not going to turn into a whole realistic person in a matter of seconds. And then I want to bring up this tired gag because we need to, because it's going to play a pivotal role later. They run 2 jokes into the ground, and this is the first of them. Multiple times throughout this first part of the movie, someone's getting slapped in a comedic, it's not even a realistic slap. It's an over-the-top, bring your palm to your ass, pull your hips all the way back, swing it as wildly as you can, and then ADR, the biggest slap noise you can, and then repeat that multiple times. Dana Carvey's Pistachio gets hit with many slaps at the beginning, and that's just to show you he's being bullied and he's pathetic and weak. And his grandfather does it to him here. They play this gag out forever. Everyone is getting bitch slapped in this movie at some point or another. And his grandfather's doing it here. And then he asks him about his father's nest, which the nest is the command room where it has all the disguises and bullshit and whatnot. So they go to the nest, Andrew. Pick me up from there because I'm starting to feel a blood vessel break.
I mean, this is where he starts having Pistachio put on different disguises and quote costumes. He was like, "Oh boy, he doesn't say, he says it in his, oh, Italiano, I've never seen this before. Oh, wow. Oh, just again, every time he fucking spoke, I wanted to turn off the TV. I got to say this. I've already tipped our hat here. I watched this on Tubi, and anytime that there was a commercial break or an advertisement break for 30 seconds or more, I was relieved. I was like, oh, thank God.
Did you hear that, everybody? Andrew was relieved for an ad break on Tubi because of this movie.
I was happy to see political ads talking about how Daniel Cameron doesn't do enough for opioid addiction in Kentucky. I was happy to watch that. I was happy to watch that over what was occurring right in front of me.
You know what kind of ads I got on my TV? Kirkland
No, what?
Signature brand. Shout out to Kirkland
Oh,
Signature brand.
Kirkland Signature, yes, the best, the creme de la creme, top of the line,
The best
American
air
made.
fryers this side of the Mississippi.
The best prices you'll get on liquid IVs and toilet paper and paper towels and fat-free chicken. Just Kirkland has it all.
Yeah.
They have it all. They've got you covered, and they'll treat you right.
They
So-
will. Quality customer service is the name of their game. Kirkland Signature Series, straight out of Kirkland, Washington, straight to your dinner table, straight to your refrigerator, straight to the appliances that you need and want for your home.
That was really nice, Chase. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Yeah.
That was so good.
You know why?
You
It's
should.
so easy.
It is because it's true, you know. But I was gonna say you should do some like voiceover work for them. I think with how you feel, the genuine connection that you have with that company and the relationship that you've helped foster, I think that real affection would bleed over into voiceover work with you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to try. It'd be effortless.
And you know what? And I would be glad to do it for such a great product and a great brand.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But moving on from Tubi and Kirkland and Kentucky,
they're in the nest. He puts on a fat suit and he gets inflated and he flies around. And then grandfather throws a dart at him and it pops and he falls to the ground and it hurts and you're supposed to laugh, but you don't.
Instead you have a stroke. But we'll montage it here. So there's a montage and it shows the grandfather's trying to train him on the master of disguise. He's like, you got to go find your dad, get your dad back. Blah, 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 blah. And in the meantime, I'm not sure if we're out of order here because it kind of jumps around, but the dad is now being forced to get back into the master of disguise so that he could steal the world's greatest historical pieces for the villain.
So what Devlin Bowman does is he takes, Pistachio's mother, places her in a kitchen and drugs her.
I don't think she was drugged. I never understood that.
Oh, he did. He said that it was something in like the fruits that she was eating or the candy that they gave her that she has no like perception of reality and she thinks she's back home in their kitchen. They created like a fake kitchen of their home back in Italy at whatever house or like lair they were at and just had her going to town, cutting up vegetables and making pasta. But because she ate the affected fruit, she's in complete bliss and has no idea of the world that is actually around her.
Again,
they have like a constant camera on her at all times. And anytime Pistachio's father doesn't want to do something, he threatens the man who's hiding under the sink to pop through the mound of flour to, like, I guess, insinuate that he was going to choke her or something.
Kill her.
This sounds fucking ridiculous, but that is exactly what happened. And every single time the hands would pop through the flour as if he was going to get her, if you will, and he would hit something on his watch when his demands were met, and then the hands would slowly disappear back into the flour as if nothing happened.
Right,
So
that person would suffocate. So
yes, whatever. But as you said, Devlin wanted Pistachio's father to steal a bunch of artifacts for him, and it's all like super famous things and super
the Constitution for one.
Yeah, the Constitution, the lunar landing. What would you call that? The lunar rover.
We'll
from,
get
like,
to
the
that
first
one.
mission.
Yeah. So it was the first one too. The first one is the Constitution. So he dresses up like Michael Johnson.
Athlete.
Yeah,
Yes.
one of the best sprinters in U.S. history, and it automatically makes him run faster. He's just disguised as Michael Johnson. He's not Michael Johnson, but he runs just as fast with the Constitution. And also, he steals the Constitution, and he's going to try to sell all this like in his like auction because he's like an arms dealer. I mean,
every single disguise that his father took upon somehow made it acceptable for them to walk away with this artifact.
Just because they're celebrities, because they're
Yeah.
like B-list celebrities. Because the guards are like, here you go, here's the Constitution, Michael Johnson.
And then I don't want to touch upon all of these, but there was another one where he disguised himself as Jessica Simpson, who is at that point a huge icon, a kind of a sex symbol in
She had her own
modern
show.
culture. Had her own show. She was a big
Idiot.
deal. Yeah. Jessica Simpson was the next disguise, and it allowed him to steal the lunar rover from the Apollo mission.
Yeah, because
And
she was
they're like,
trading her new shitty CD. She traded 3 CDs to these guards, and they let her drive away with the lunar module from the Apollo mission that landed on the moon. What
yeah,
the fuck? What the
just
actual fuck?
what like neuro pathways do you have to undergo to create that joke? Like, in what world do you think that is funny? I'm talking to you, Dana Carvey. In what world is that funny? You're supposed to be a fucking comedian. That's not funny. That's stupid. And you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed, dude.
I don't even think that they were looking at the joke, more or less that they were just trying to get as many celebrity cameos as possible. And they only had a $16 million budget, so they only ended up with Jessica Simpson, Michael Johnson, and fucking Jesse Ventura at one point. I don't know if you remember that scene or if you blocked it out.
No, I remember that, and I didn't know who it was at first, and then they said, "Oh, Jesse Ventura." I think he might have been governor at that point. So they said like Governor Ventura because he was governor of Minnesota for a time.
And they just handed him the Liberty Bell. Here you go, Jesse. Yeah. Here's the Liberty Bell. And he just ties it to the back of a limo. You're not going to be able to tow the lunar module with a damn like Rolls Royce limo. But Jesse Ventura gets in, and every time he does, it's like it does the shitty CGI where he takes his face off, and it's obviously Pistachio's dad. And he's sitting there with Bowman, and Bowman's like, my plan is going very well, swimmingly. And every time he starts talking, he farts. He farts, Andrew. We have fart jokes.
This was the only time I mustered even like a quarter of a laugh. It was dumb because he was like deep in conversation, and he wasn't getting belligerent, but he was getting dramatic and fiery with what he had to say, and then he would just let out and go quiet. And he did it like 5 or 6 times. It was just a running gag. Anytime he got on a tangent and started speaking fervently and passionately, he would fart and then just kind of go silent and feel embarrassed.
That was killing me because if you did it one time, maybe I would have chuckled. Who doesn't love a little bit of sophomoric humor? I get it, but this is every time the villain shows up, he farts. Get that looked at. I think he was just trying to get all this stuff together so he can afford a colonoscopy. I think that's where this was going. I think the villain had colon cancer and was really struggling. That's the only thing I can think about. Or either that or he's eating like just the most horrendous things like Taco Bell 3 meals a day. I don't know. You shouldn't be farting that much, or it shouldn't be like uncontrollable to you. And the fact that they thought that this was a pivotal laugh for this movie pisses me off. It pisses me off, Dana Carvey, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, dude, you're funnier than that. Again, why? Why do you think? I don't even know what his target was. If this was like his Opus Dei, then man, he should be ashamed. I wonder if he is ashamed. We talked about how he took like almost a decade off from acting after this. I wonder if it has to be because of this fucking movie. It literally has to.
He should have been set on fire.
Sued. He should have been taken to court and sued for ruining people's evenings, like millions of people's evenings.
Oh,
Like just
we gotta move on. Like this is not
okay.
even, like we spent. We're because we got more to cover, and it's only going to get worse. But
All right, let's just get there. So we talked about how Roman
oh! You
has
know what
the
happens
father.
next, Andrew?
Oh no, what? Please.
We get brown face. We get
Oh
brown face
yeah,
from
how
Dana
could we miss
Carvey,
that? How could we miss that? Yeah, he's supposed to be an Indian man who's like a snake collar.
and
Is that
he's
what you call
doing the
them? Snake
voice.
collars?
Yep,
Yeah, and he does the Apu voice essentially.
a
And I
shitty one, a
mean,
shittier Apu
it's
version
it's quite shitty,
than Hank
but he is
Azaria. God bless you, Hank
he
Azaria.
the best. His skin is brown.
Yep.
His nose is altered. His teeth are not attractive, and they did that on purpose, I'm sure. But he plays some snake charmer who's using a plastic accordion to charm this cobra. And this was like his final stage before he became a apprentice master of disguise or whatever the hell his grandfather called it. But I mean,
I hated
you talk
this.
about you talk about something that just doesn't hold up at all in any capacity, is not funny, should never have been done, should be forgotten about to some extent. You can't let him completely get by with this scot free, but just
In
dumb.
in
Just dumb.
2002 too, it was never acceptable to do this, but like in the 40s and before that, like you understand the day and age, people accepted it. Not saying it is acceptable. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like if you pull movies from that time period, you're going to get that. You shouldn't be pulling movies from 2002 and getting brown face. We're well past that at that point. So the fact that they
Yeah.
thought that that was okay and it was dumb and it wasn't funny. He starts playing the accordion and it plays this like masterful piano melody. It's like it's unrealistic. You're not laughing, but this proves that he is now a master of disguise. He's passed his training. And when he passes his training, Andrew, he gets an assistant. None of the other ones have an
Mm.
assistant. Why does he get an assistant? And long story short, they're doing job applications for an assistant of the master of disguise, and the grandfather's being a bitch to all of them. And who but shows up but this beautiful woman who is the mother of the boy we met at the beginning, the boy that keeps eating
Oh,
shit on the
so
skateboard.
she gets introduced before this because they were out on like the stoop, and the young kid comes up on his skateboard, and Pistachio's talking to him and whatnot. And then the first line she says, she comes up, she's in like a tank top and like yoga pants. So like she's not exposed, but like she's wearing something that you wouldn't see in public at all times of the day. But her first line is, "Oh, sorry, I was just in yoga class. Sorry about how I look." It was something just like that. I'm like, what? Why? Why is that the
And
first line? That line just reeks of just sexism in general, and I don't know.
we're moving on. She gets hired as the assistant, everybody. That's what happens.
God,
And she's now the love interest. She's going to be the love
yeah,
interest.
and
I'm sorry to spoil it.
it's heavily implied from the very start. She also has a boyfriend, so like it's not one that's going to be just instantaneous. It's her boyfriend Trent. He's a jerk, like a guy who like makes fun of kids, like to their face. Just a complete piece of shit. And of course, they have to play up those extremes and those stereotypes to further the point that this new assistant, what's her name? I don't. What does she even? She
Is
has
it
a name, right?
Jessica? I don't know.
It's just to further play up the idea that it is Jennifer,
Jennifer.
that she doesn't, that this Trent guy doesn't deserve her, and we as the audience should pine for her and Pistachio to get together.
And
Again,
and
just also shitty writing conventions.
and
Just
she
such,
does all the damn work. She
yeah, she
solves
does everything.
everything. So, and he is now a cocky asshole about being a master of disguise. Long story short, she finds a cigar that is from the Turtle Club. We're doing it. We're about to enter the infamous Turtle Club scene. So she tells him, "Hey, this is from a specific place, and these are made for specific people. So if we go here, we can find out who ransacked the restaurant." And he's like, "Okay, we'll disguise it. It's supposed to be this fancy elite club." Andrew, what is he? Andrew, oh my God. What does he show up dressed as for the Turtle Club?
A turtle.
He shows up as a fucking turtle.
It's like a green suit, but it's like a
Turtle shell.
green a turtle shell. It's like super starched. So he has like literally a shell on the back that's made of fabric and has certain designs to make it look like it's a shell, but it's essentially a very starched suit that's hollowed out and shaped like a turtle. And he's bald and he like sucks in his cheeks and it's kind of has a pointy nose and
Some glasses to make his eyes
some
look bigger.
glasses
And all he says is turtle. And he says it repeatedly. All this man does is sit there and say turtle at the Turtle Club. He is an idiot. If you're a master of disguise, you would know what you're disguising yourself as. The joke is it's called the Turtle Club. Congratulations. But he decides to dress up as an actual turtle thinking that this was the best espionage he can do. His master of disguise proves that he was homeschooled, is what it does. He is not fit for any of this. We've made him out to be a complete idiot. The joke here is that he repeats the word turtle. He just repeats it, and it's just deafening the whole time. Everyone's looking at him like,
is he okay?
Yeah,
is he okay?
Yeah, they're like,
is he special needs?
Yes, yes.
Should we treat him delicately?
And he's with this beautiful woman, and
we should say I don't know if you said this, but the reason that we are here in the first place is because she found that cigar.
Right?
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Go on. He's with this beautiful woman who is turning heads left and right, but she's accompanied by this bozo dressed like a turtle, and it's just again, Dana Carvey, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, in what mind did you think this is remotely
not even
funny?
This is
it's not.
He's shooting for teenage funny. He said it was. That's what he was going for. This is not even 5-year-old funny. This is not like I could put Winnie, Kyle's daughter, in front of the screen and put this on repeat, and she would cry and cry and cry, and then she would grow up to be a serial killer. That's what exactly this scene does to people. It's awful. It's stupid. It's dumb writing. All she's doing is asking all the questions. So the assistant is doing all the work, which is, typical America. And she ends up finding out through the cigar that it's Bowman. Yeah, and I think she meets him.
The cigar was handcrafted. Where does she meet him?
She meets him at the Turtle Club, and he invites her back to his place.
Oh,
and then
how fitting that she talks to this guy, this connoisseur there, who handcrafted this cigar for Devlin Bowman, and then she turns around and boom, he's right there. What are the odds? What are the fucking odds?
So we didn't even need to be at the Turtle Club, basically. But
no.
Anyway, flashing forward, we're going to move quick through the rest of this part because I'm starting to get a migraine. I think I'm getting more than that. I think I'm just getting glaucoma. But Bowman sees her, and he wants to invite her back to his place. So she's like, okay, I'll go, and I'll get all the intel. And so they show up, and we get a montage of different disguises. He's disguising himself as different people throughout this next scene where they're trying to get information from Bowman. Oh, I'm losing it, Andrew. But we're going to speed run this because this scene is so useless. So she is kind of inside the house, like looking for clues, looking for stuff where they can help.
Again, she is the only one that is doing something productive.
Right.
Dana Carvey or Pistachio is just around putting on stupid costumes and literally accomplishing jack shit. He gathers attention, but not in a good way.
No, at one point they do a Jaws reference where he plays Quinn in the boat and he mumbles, saying a bunch of random words. You'd have to put the subtitles on to read them, which I did. I had to go back, put the subtitles on this morning, read through the words, and they don't make any sense. None of them are funny. He just mentions shark, and then At one
And
point,
before that, he did a disguise
as a
of
Cuban,
Yeah, it was Al Pacino's Scarface.
yeah,
He was doing a horrible Al Pacino impression.
and he
Tons of hair, a pink button down, chest open shirt. He gets up and he does some stupid fucking dancing on the stage, which then alerts Bowman and his cronies. And that's when he goes off and
does the
runs through a
Jaws,
field and lands in a boat, does the Jaws impression. Then he gives himself away because the henchmen see that he
the
has a bunch of
hair.
hair on his chest, his arms. He's like, oh,
And then he turns into cow shit, which is what he really
yeah.
is for writing this movie. And they step in it, and then they start to walk away, and then he just gives himself up, gets up, and gets out of disguise right in front of them. They get 5 feet away, which gets a pursuit there. Bowman corners what Jennifer inside the house as she's really pretty much figured out what's going on. She somehow gets out of it because he shows back up as like an agent of the government saying that they need Jennifer back. And
He first shows up as some German. I don't know who or what or why, but he was some German guy in lederhosen and some, I don't know, hat. One of those like green hats. The hat. Sorry to our friends in Germany. I don't.
yeah, no, I'm sorry for our folks in Germany if they watch
Yeah,
this.
it was an insult. And they gave him awful teeth, and it was an awful German dialect that he was taking on. Again, I don't even know what his motive was with this character. Clearly it wasn't working, and that's why he decided to go with some
The good
British
people of
spy.
Germany did not deserve this.
No, did not.
And it sets our country back even more. But
it was a complete disservice. But then he does that British spy character, and then his British dialect was fucking trash.
I'm sorry for our British listeners. I'm sorry to our
Yeah.
Scottish listeners. I'm sorry to our
Yeah.
Irish listeners. Anybody across the world that's listening, which, Andrew, we're all over the world right now.
All over now.
I appreciate you all listening. I'm so sorry you had to watch this. If you watched it with us, this is so bad, so condescending. I don't even want to talk about it. They get away. They have the information that they need, and they show up at the restaurant, and Dana Carvey figures out that his parents are now being captive by Bowman to steal all the shit. He figures it out, and as he's figuring it out, Jennifer's boyfriend is on a date with, what was her name? Pamela, whatever.
Brenda,
Lisa,
whatever.
this Jezebel, according to the script. And
Gives a shit.
yeah, Jennifer's like, oh, my boyfriend's with her now. And then Dana Carvey just bitch slaps him 8 times. He goes unconscious. And that makes him now attractive. Because that's how men win women over, is they just go bitch slap some asshole, and that makes you just attractive, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Should we create a poll? All of the women listeners out there, do you find that attractive? If someone just goes up and slaps the shit out of somebody, does that make you just
in
like
a public setting?
In a public setting? Moving on. But now they know the plan. We get to our grand finale here, Andrew, moving along. So now they know where to go. Bowman's having this huge auction for all of these
stolen items.
Liberty Bell, Constitution, Liberty
the Mona Lisa. And it's like, again,
the FBI would be on top of this place.
Yeah.
Not even just the FBI. Like, the nations would get together to bring this man in if he is auctioning off all this shit. But anyway, they show up, and then what happens next, Andrew?
They show up at Devlin's place. I don't even remember if him and Jennifer went together, but his disguise to infiltrate his lair is it's cherry pie.
That's it. Everybody.
It's a cherry pie. He gets one of his henchmen rolls a big old cherry pie on some dumbwaiter, and
he wears the shoes, and he gets caught by Devlin because he's wearing cherry pie shoes. So he's not the master of disguise; he's master of idiots.
But yeah, I mean, again, brilliant writing and creativity.
Well, it gets better, Andrew.
Disguise,
it gets better because
tell me.
Devlin has a plan now. What he's going to do is sell all this shit off, and as he's being looked at by the FBI, who's using the pencils at their desk to sit on, So it goes straight up their ass and through their brain, so they're not thinking. But he's like, I'm going to kill myself, and how I'm going to kill myself is I'm going to make the master of disguise, Pistachio's dad, dress as me and then jump off a cliff. And he's going to be
But
dead.
he's also going to super glue that disguise on Pistachio's dad so that it would be undoubtedly him when discovered.
And he finds a way to like keep the disguise on him, so Pistachio's dad ends up thinking he is Bowman. Are you with us, everybody? But there are no stakes to this film because at the same time that this plot gets revealed, it shows his mom just coming out of her trance and beating the shit out of the guy that was supposed to hurt her the whole time.
The guy that was coming out of the mound of flowers,
yeah,
as I
so
alluded to earlier.
Yeah, she beats the shit out of him. Bowman starts to get away, and long story short, Pistachio convinces his dad that he's not Bowman by putting underwear on his head. You heard that right, because when he was a kid, he used to put underwear on his head and pretend he was a character. So his dad recognizes that, pulls the Bowman disguise off.
That was supposed to be super glued, but he did it, surprisingly very easy and quickly.
And they get out of there. Bowman runs away, and then our final scene ends up with a character we mentioned from SNL, George Bush, at the resort that Bowman's at, and that's how they capture Bowman.
He's like in Costa Rica. I think that's where he ended up, just there by the pool. And he shows up, and what's the line he says? It's a dead giveaway. Something about, you're doing this. And he does like the hand clamping. How do you even describe that? I don't even know if we should even put that in there. It doesn't even fucking matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They capture Bowman. They throw him in like the pool or something. He farts.
He does, and it smells, and they all laugh, and that's
it. That's really it. The narrator comes in and tells you that they all live happily ever after. Jennifer marries Pistachio, and they move on with the rest of their life. And it's just one of the worst movies.
It's a shame because there are some decent actors in this, some well-known actors. I mean, James Brolin, Josh Brolin's father, well-known Hollywood actor, still going strong at 85. He played Pistachio's father, Fabrizio. We didn't even give him the proper introduction. Fabrizio Disguisi. That's a famous actor. Then you got Brent Spiner, who of course was in Star Trek and among other things. He was Devlin Bowman. What's her name? Jennifer Esposito.
They all deserve to be put to death for this.
Harold Gold, longtime, well-known actor, did a bunch of stuff. More character actor, smaller work, but like he had some decent roles back in the day. Patch Adams and other things, but I have no idea why they all agreed to do this. I guess money. I guess that's ultimately it. But I don't think if I was an A-list or even like A- or B list, I don't think I would have even touched this. I don't think I would have even agreed to do this no matter what they paid me. Like, it's just...
I think this is the angriest I've ever been on this show. I think we can skip the whole childhood memory because we didn't have much of it, and I don't...
Why? I already talked about it at the beginning, and it was a giveaway at that point.
Yeah, and I said I hated it as a child. This is the worst movie we've done on the show, in my opinion. This easily tops Batman and Robin for me. Easily. Like, because Batman and Robin is so bad, but there's parts of it you're like, you got to be kidding me, and you get like a little chuckle out of it, and there's like some entertainment value to that. There's nothing here. I was angry. I was so mad.
Yeah, you might be right, because Batman and Robin, you still have the allure of the superhero, of Batman, and the darkness and mysteriousness that goes along with that, which still captures you in some way. This movie didn't capture anyone. It was, to me, this script was like the equivalent of me scrambling like my junior year to write a 10-page paper the night before it was due.
And I still think that there would be more to that and more plot points to that. I think
100%.
Somebody could eat 4 Nachos Bel Grandes from Taco Bell and drill that down with 3 white monsters and eat a cheesecake while they're lactose intolerant, that shit that comes out of them would be more pleasant than this movie itself.
Again, I wanted to stress that I looked forward to the commercial breaks while watching this on Tubi. I found joy and relief and watching shitty local political smear campaign ads and commercials about Amazon food delivery. Like that was so much more enjoyable than what I had to sit through. I went to bed angry last night. I didn't sleep well actually last night because one, I stayed up too late to watch this movie. And the fact that I stayed up too late to watch this movie made me incredibly angry, and I would have rather have gone to bed when my body wanted to. So fuck this. Fuck that. I will say the only saving grace is that it's an hour and 20.
I was gonna
It's
say
only an hour and 20. If this was a 2 hour movie, I don't know if I would be here talking to you right now. I think I would have ended
we
it.
would have
I
skipped
think
this week. We would not have done this episode.
we've already talked too much about this.
Yes, so it doesn't hold up, right? We can agree on that. Yeah, so
No, we don't even need to do the whole. So Chase, so Andrew, so Kyle, who's in DC getting federally prosecuted. By the way, no, we know
Kyle's prison sentence will hold up better than this movie. It was one of the I like I said, I think it was the worst of all time. But
honestly, his prison sentence, being in a jail, would be far better than being forced to watch this like 3 times a day, every day for like months straight.
Or like, once. I'd rather go to prison than watch this again.
Yeah, I would.
What would you give it on the IMDb rating scale? I think that's more interesting than the hold up part.
Like a 0.6? Like, I don't even know. I don't even want to give it a 1. I don't even want to put it in the teens, man. Like, I'm going to give it a decimal. It's awful, which is, again, that's far lower than I think what I gave Batman and Robin. So maybe you're right. Maybe this is truly the worst movie we have watched on this show. So 0.6 out of 10. I can't give it a negative just because that doesn't make any sense on a scale or IMDb rating. You got to give it something. 0.6. All the work, all the money that went into this, it only amounts to a 0.6.
I'm with you. I'm going to give it a 0.4, and the 0.4 is just for it being an hour and 20 minutes. That's where the 0.4 comes from. That's the only saving grace.
Dana Carvey, I like some of your characters' impressions that you've done in the past, and I do find you funny at times, but man, you dropped the ball with this one. And you're laughing because you made millions, and who gives a shit at this point? But like, I believe this movie completely tarnished his career.
I want restitution for watching this movie. I want him to pay me something for doing this.
I mean, he had a great standing in the comedic world.
Had is the key word.
Yeah, he was in Wayne's World, which is an absolute classic. Wayne's World 2, of course, Saturday Night Live. But like, once he did this, he ruined his reputation and how he's perceived. I think if you had him in a room, it was just him, and you asked his opinions on Master of Disguise, I think he'd probably agree with you. Probably why he
retired
suddenly like acting anymore, because he flamed out super hard, and there was no coming back from that.
Well, Andrew, I could not have said it better, but you know what we do around here. We reach into your childhood nostalgia, pull the movies from your past out. Today, we found the worst movie of all time, pulled it out. Don't even look at the DVD cover. Don't look it up online. There's nothing to watch. There's nothing to see. There's nothing to read about this movie. It is hot garbage, one of the worst we've ever seen. Andrew, you're taking a short break from the show. We're going to miss you, buddy. But me and Kyle will be soldiering on next week as we dive into Monkey Bone. We'll see yous all next Thursday.